30 days! The Queen Mother bellowed, her voice echoing like thunder. I haven't received my sacrifice in 30. You want power, you want influence, luxury. Ego nodded slowly, her mouth dry as pain gripped his skull and the smell of decay filled his nostrils. He made a call. Danhaire called one of his most trusted cult agents, a dark middleman known simply as the broker. He doesn't appear in public, he doesn't talk too much. His job, to source and arrange women for high-level rituals. Women whose bodies and souls could be used to prolong the lives of desperate cult members like Danhaire.
Broker, I beg.
He sobbed.
I'm still alive, but I'm rotten. My guts will nearly chop my head finish. I don't get time again. I beg, help me.
There was silence, then a slow, amused chuckle. Broker's voice came calm, deep but dangerous.
So, you finally called. I have been waiting for you to beg.
Danhaire sniffled, nodding like a child.
Please, I'll do anything. Just help me, I beg.
Broker smiled wickedly.
Good. Now listen closely. This time, I will get you more than just one. I will give you a full menu of women. Pure, soft, unsuspecting. You just speak.
Danhaire's eyes widened.
You'll do that for me? Oh, thank you. Thank you, my lord.
He muttered.
Don't thank me yet.
Broker replied.
You still have to do your part, or the maggots will return hungrier.
And with that, the wheels of doom began to turn. Broker called one of his boys, Hamza.
Organize the billionaire party in Lagos. Big, loud, glamorous, and make sure we net the finest. Tell the campus girls, let them bring the meat.
Hamza smirked.
You can count on me, boss.
Hamza went straight to work. That same night, exclusive digital invites started flying into the DMs of the biggest girls in Unilag, ABU, UI, and so many other happening tertiary institutions. But not just any girls. He sent them to the Connect babes, the ones who knew how to pull a crowd, the ones who always knew the next big thing, private billionaire cruise party, all expense paid, strictly by invite. The bait had been dropped. It was a dull Tuesday afternoon and Ego had barely survived her lectures. She slung her handbag across her shoulder and began strolling out of the lecture hall when Zima suddenly stepped in front of her. Her eyes sparkled with urgency. Babe, clear your weekend though. There is a party coming up. Ego blinked. Party? What kind of party? Zima leaned closer, lowering her voice. Lagos, boat crews, billionaires, politicians, the real money men, first class, everything. If you miss this one, oh yeah, it's okay. So Ego's eyes widened, her heartbeat quickened. For real? She gasped. Wait, like real big man party. Zima grinned, adjusting her silk scarf. Babe, this not the cream de la cream. Girls from Unilag, Uniben, Unical, all the hot babes are flying in. It's not a regular backyard groove. If you play your cards well, babe, your life will change. Ego hugged her in excitement. Zima, I swear you'll be lifesaver. But Zima wasn't done. Her expression turned serious. But first, we will have to visit Mama Azara's shrine tonight, she said firmly. We need to get fortified. That party no be been so. Ego nodded eagerly. I did with you, babe. And with that, they parted ways. That night, the moon hung low and full, casting a silver glow over the lonely path that led to the riverbank. Zima and Ego, dressed in white wrappers tied around their chests, followed closely behind Mama Azara, who held the calabash and whispered to the wind. The river hissed softly as they approached. Crickets chirped. The air was thick with anticipation. Without a word, Mama Azara motioned them to kneel. Zima and Ego obeyed, heads bowed, hearts pounding. From her calabash, Mama Azara brought out a pure white cock, its eyes wild, wings twitching. She began chanting low, deep incantations that danced with the wind. One by one, she passed the cock over their heads, whispering ancient words. Then she reached into her bag and handed them each a small black container. "Spray this in your private area before you lie with a man," she said, her voice grave. "Whatever you ask shall be granted unto you." Ego's eyes lit up. Zima simply nodded. They were about to stand when Mama Azara's voice rose sharply. "But hear me well," she warned. Never lay with any man whose source of wealth you don't trust. If you do, you will regret it till your dying day. The girls froze, nodding quietly. As they turned to leave, a cold wind blew across the river and the white cock let out a long final scream. The day finally came. Ego had barely slept the night before. Her travel box was packed. Heels, wigs, short gowns, and the mysterious black container Mama Azara had given her. By 7:30 a.m., a black Range Rover had pulled up in front of Queen Amina's lodge. Zima was already inside, looking like a goddess. "Welcome to the sweet life." Zima smiled. Ego grinned, her heart racing with anticipation. By afternoon, they were in Lagos. From the airport, they were driven straight to a private dock in Lekki, where a luxurious white yacht awaited. Beautiful girls in designer kimonos sipped champagne on deck, while older men in white laughed among themselves, eyeing the new arrivals like prized possessions. Ego's breath caught in her throat. Everything looked like a movie. Zima whispered, "Smile, babe, you're already here. This is the part where your life changes." Ego smiled and relaxed. As the boat cruised into the open sea, the music grew louder, the air thicker. The ladies danced, they drank, they flirted. The men sprayed them cash just for smiling and dancing. But it was Alhaji Denhaire who approached her.
"Hello, beautiful,"
he said, his deep voice laced with confidence. Ego sized him from head to toe. He was short, ugly, and nothing like her beloved Alhaji Baku, but he reeked of wealth. Everything about him screamed power. "Hi, handsome," Ego replied, flashing her best smile. And just like that, a conversation began. After the boat cruise, the girls were driven back to their hotel rooms to freshen up, and by 10 p.m., a convoy of black jeeps arrived, waiting to pick them up for the final party of the night. They drove deep into a secluded part of Lagos, a place so silent and hidden that one would hardly believe such a massive mansion could be built there. But it was, and the moment they drove in, the gates closed behind them with a loud clang. The black jeeps rolled to a stop in front of a mansion so massive, golden lights bettered the high walls of the mansion. At the entrance, masked attendants held out face masks to each girl. Ego hesitated. She looked at Zima with furrowed brows. "What is this?" Zima smiled and leaned in. "It's just a masked party, babe. Nothing serious. Take it." Ego slowly collected hers as the others did. No one else seemed bothered. With a deep breath, she slid it over her face and followed the group in. The hall they stepped in was enormous. Velvet drapes, bright chandeliers, marble floor that reflected golden light. The air was rich with perfume and power. Men and women dressed in expensive clothes moved like royalty, every single one wearing a mask. Zima turned to Ego and smiled, her eyes dancing with excitement. "Go enjoy yourself," she whispered before disappearing into the crowd. As the masked party buzzed with music and mystery, a short round man in white agbada stood near the bar, swirling his drink slowly. His eyes scanned the hall until they stopped. He leaned toward a man in a black suit, his voice firm and low.
"That's her. The one in red. I want her."
He was pointing at Ego, radiant in a red dress, looking around in confusion. The man in the suit nodded and walked away silently, disappearing into the masked crowd. As Ego looked around in confusion, a tall man in black suit walked up, bowing slightly.
"May I have this dance?"
Without waiting for an answer, he took her hand and led her to the dance floor. The music was slow, intoxicating. Around her, laughter filled the air. Bodies swayed and servants began handing out crystal glasses of glowing drinks. Ego sipped hers slowly, but minutes later, her limbs began to feel heavy. Her vision blurred slightly. Her head swayed. "I need to sit," she mumbled, Staggering toward the lounge section nearby, she slumped into a velvet couch, her heartbeat slowing, and then darkness. Ego was no longer in the lounge. She was lying motionless on a massive bed in a candlelit bedroom. Her mask was gone, her hair still intact. In the corner of the room, just by the door, Alhaji Danhaire handed an envelope to two men in black suits, whispering a quiet thank you before they left silently. He returned to the bed, pulled off his white agbada, revealing a stomach that folded in 3 layers. His face glowed with anticipation. He reached out to touch Ego, but the moment his hand brushed her skin, her body glowed eerily. Alhaji paused. He stepped down from the bed, grinning.
I sabi this game wella.
He whispered as he dipped his hand into a small leather pouch, pulled out fine grey powder, and blew it into the air over Ego's motionless body.
Let your spirit rest,
he said softly. He climbed back onto the bed, and without protection, without fear, he had his way with her. When he was done, he stood up silently, wiped her private part with a damp towel, dressed her carefully, and called the men to come take her back to the couch in the lounge, exactly where she had slept off. Ego woke up in the lounge, still in her dress, hair neatly packed, mask beside her on the couch. She blinked, confused. Had she slept off at the party? Zima appeared all smiles. Babe, you know well, you just doze off like saying at your papa house, she teased, handing Ego a cold drink. Ego laughed faintly, though her body felt different, heavier, distant, like something had been taken out of her. The ride back to the hotel was quiet. Zima was busy on the phone all through. Ego stared out the window, flashes of the party coming in fragments, dancing, drinks, then nothing, just black. That night, back in their hotel room, Ego tried to sleep, but as soon as she shut her eyes, she opened them again. Inside a giant palm, she stood up, trembling, only to realize that she is surrounded by a massive hand suspended in smoke. Down below, 6 bald-headed men stood laughing and pointing up at her with glowing eyes. Her heart raced. Ego looked up, and there she was, the Queen Mother, towering, terrifying, her head alive with hissing snakes that slithered toward Ego. Before Ego could run, the Queen Mother's other hand gripped her tight and dropped her into a boiling black pot. Ego screamed as she fell down until she jolted awake, gasping, drenched in sweat. Zima turned to her lazily. Babe, are you alright? Ego panted. I had a dream. A horrible one. Zima yawned. Too much champagne. Sleep, Jare, she said, rolling over. Ego stared at the ceiling, her heart thudding until she drifted back to sleep. The next morning, Zima handed Ego an envelope, $5,000, she said, smiling. Your thank you package. You lit up the party. Ego's eyes widened. For real? Zima nodded. This is just the beginning. Ego hugged her tight, and just like that, they packed their bags and headed to the airport. But the shadow of the Queen Mother still lingered deep inside Ego's soul. In the cold silence of the evil realm, smoke twisted like spirits searching for hosts. Through it, Alhaji Danhaire emerged, cloaked in shadows, his head bowed low. He dropped to his knees before the giant figure seated on the throne of bones.
Oh, Queen Mother,
he spoke with trembling reverence.
I have offered a sacrifice.
The Queen Mother, her head alive with slithering snakes, let out a deep echoing laugh. Rise, Danhaire. He stood up and slowly removed his hood, revealing its bald, infected scalp, still crawling with maggots. In a flash, snakes surrounded him. One hissed and lunged forward, its tongue extended, licking the maggots off his scalp like honey. You have bought yourself another 60 days of life. Wealth, affluence, the Queen Mother said with wicked glee. Enjoy it while it lasts. Her laughter shook the realm. Then, darkness. Danhaire jolted awake in a silk-covered bed. Panting, he rushed to his mirror. The sore was gone. The maggots vanished. His scalp smooth and unblemished. He smirked.
another round, but
he whispered. This was a secret. Buy life by sacrificing innocent women. Every time he slept with one, his curse weakened and his riches grew. Satisfied, Henry climbed back into bed. The Queen Mother's laughter still ringing in his ears. Back in Zaria, everything had changed. Ego had returned a different person. Wardrobe glowing, bank alerts ringing, confidence skyrocketing. She upgraded to the latest iPhone and her aura untouchable. But beneath the glam, something strange had started. It began with the dreams. Every night, she found herself walking through a narrow tunnel, hands reaching out from the walls, whispering her name. Some nights, she saw herself floating in a river of blood, the Queen Mother watching from afar, smiling. Then came the nosebleeds. First, tiny drops, then heavier ones, especially when she laughed too hard. Zima noticed but said nothing. Only once did she speak. Try not to overuse the oil or the perfume. Let your body rest. Ego nodded, but she was restless. There was something in her she couldn't explain. A dark weight, a sense that time was ticking and something was coming for her. Ego woke up one morning with a sharp tearing pain in her lower abdomen. The scream that left her mouth shook the room. Desperate, she grabbed her phone and called Zima. Minutes later, Zima barged in, panic in her eyes. Let me take you to the hospital. No, Mama Azara, Ego whispered through clenched teeth. They drove straight to the priestess. Inside the shrine, the air was still. Mama Azara asked Ego to lie on a mat. As she bent over and lifted Ego's clothes, she jerked back violently. You have been used, she cried. Ego's eyes flew open in horror. Mama, how? The priestess's face twisted with fury. I warned you. I told you never to let any man with dark wealth touch you. Zima turned to Ego stunned. Did you sleep with anyone at the party? No, I swear I didn't. I just drank a little and dozed off. That's all. Mama Azara stepped back. Take her away. Go and bear the consequences. Tears filled Zima's eyes as she helped Ego up. They rushed to ABU Teaching Hospital, Shika. Ego was admitted immediately, but every test came out clean. Yet, her condition worsened. Her private part began to stink. The doctors were confused. Finally, one called Zima aside. Whatever is wrong with your friend isn't medical. It may be spiritual. Involve her parents if you can. And with that, Ego was discharged. Back at home, Zima sat her down. Babe, tell me the truth. Are you sure you didn't sleep with anyone that night or after? Ego sobbed. I swear on my life, I didn't. I just drank then slept. That's all. I don't know what happened. Zima stared at her, afraid, because whatever had touched Ego was not of this world. Ego was no longer the campus slay queen. She was now a shadow of herself. The moment the car pulled up in front of their compound in Agbo, the neighbors peeked through their windows but quickly covered their noses as Ego stepped out of the car. Flies swarmed her like bees, buzzing around her waist and thighs. The stench was horrific. Jesus! A woman across the street muttered. But nah, Ego's mother didn't care. She ran out barefoot, arms wide. My Peking, my Ego. She hugged her daughter tightly, ignoring the smell. Tears already rolling. Come inside. Zima followed quietly behind, her eyes lowered in guilt. Inside, Ego collapsed on a mat. Her skin was pale, her eyes sunken. She couldn't even sit up straight. Nne knelt beside her, cupping her cheeks. What happened to you? Talk to me, my Ego. What is it? Ego's lips trembled, but no words came. Only tears. Zima cleared her throat, her voice low. The doctor said it's not medical. It may be spiritual. Nne gasped, covering her mouth. She looked at her daughter again, her only child, now a rotten shell of who she used to be. Ego, I won't do this thing to you. Ego looked at her mother, then looked away, silent, broken, dying. Nne dragged Ego from one church to another, seeking help. Prophets gave her verses, asked her for seed, promised healing, but ego only grew worse. Her once beautiful body was now a skeleton wrapped in sores. Her private part was rotten, crawling with maggots. Every morning, Nne would weep as she swept them off the floor. Ego could no longer scream, only cry silently. She knew death was close, but her only wish was closure, to know the cause of her predicament. Then came the news. Pastor Enoch, a powerful man of God, was coming to Agbo for a retreat that weekend. The retreat held on an open field, filled with hundreds lifting their hands to heaven. They forced her way to the front, then collapsed at the pastor's feet, wailing, "Pastor, my daughter is alive but rotten. I can't even bring her here because of the smell. Please help me." The moment Pastor Enoch heard her, he paused. Something stirred in his spirit. He immediately asked two pastors to follow him to Nne's home. When they arrived at Nne's house and stepped in, they staggered back. The stench was unbearable. They quickly wore nose masks as they carefully stepped into the room. Lying on the mat was Ego, unmoving, skin pale, body wasting. Pastor Enoch knelt beside her, placed his hand on her forehead, closed his eyes, and after praying for a while, he opened his eyes slowly.
You have been used.
He whispered. He turned to her.
When did it start?
Ego, barely audible, spoke. "After the Lagos party." Pastor Enoch sighed.
Someone exchanged their affliction for your soul. You slept with the devil himself.
Tears streamed down Ego's sunken face. At last, she understood. And for the first time since she fell ill, she confessed everything. Maman Azara's kayamata, the perfume, the oil, the sweets, the party, the man, the lies. In tears, she asked God for mercy. Pastor Enoch shook his head, closed his eyes, and prayed for her. But by the time they finished, Ego was gone. Cold, still, silent. Nne screamed, rolling on the ground. "My child, why Ego? God, why?" Pastor Enoch held her.
At least she made peace with herself and with her maker. That's something.
2 weeks later, Ego was laid to rest, not in gold, not in diamonds, but in a simple wooden coffin. No dollars, no iPhone, no Dubai ticket went with her, just the consequences of her choices. Zima stood by the grave, tears rolling down her eyes. She changed after that. No more parties, no more zadis, no more kayamata. As for Alhaji Danhaire, the devil's own vessel, his own time came too. The cult demand became too much, and when he failed to meet up, he died in his luxury suite, alone, rotten, maggots crawling out of his bald head. All the wealth he killed for, left behind. Moral lesson: vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. Ecclesiastes 1 verse 2. We hear the stories every day. Ladies chasing soft life, men chasing quick money, people trading their souls for material things. But in all you do, don't let this be your story. Fame will fade, beauty will wrinkle, even the money will finish, but our souls live on with the consequences of the choices we have made. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story and would like to see more interesting stories, please consider subscribing to this channel, not forgetting to turn on your post notification icon so that when a new video is being posted, you will be the first to be notified. Till we meet again in my next video, remain blessed.